Look, I've made videos about monsters before. Real ones, fake ones, the kind that live in your head and the kind that live in government offices. But nothing I've ever dreamed of is as perfectly and cosmically F up as what just happened to an Irish family who found out their mother was dead via a WhatsApp notification. Not a phone call, not a somber visit from authorities, no, a WhatsApp message. The same app you used to send your friends pictures of your lunch and argue about whether Die Hard is a Christmas movie. But here's what happened. 58-year-old Maureen Slow told her family that she was taking a trip to Lithuania with a friend. Classic misdirection. She was actually flying solo to Switzerland to die at something called the Pegasus Clinic, where apparently you can purchase death like it's a luxury spa treatment. 2 days later, her daughter Megan gets a message that reads like someone announcing they're running late for dinner. Hey, your mom's dead. She went out listening to Elvis gospel music. Ashes in the mail. Cheers. Well, I'm paraphrasing, but not by much. Now, before you start thinking this is just another story about some eccentric rich person's final wishes, let me paint you the full picture of just how catastrophically broken this entire system is. Maureen had a documented history of mental illness. She had previously attempted suicide after losing her 2 sisters. The family says that she was emotionally shattered, not terminally ill by any means, but just broken in the way that makes you want to stop existing. And somehow, this woman managed to convince a Swiss clinic to kill her using what might have been forged documents and a fake email address. That's it. So the clinic claims they got a letter from her daughter Megan supporting the decision, plus an email confirmation. Megan swears that she never wrote any letter or sent any email. So most likely, Mom created a fake email address, wrote the letter herself, and essentially catfished a suicide clinic into murdering her. So think about that for a second. We live in a world where you need 3 forms of ID and a credit check to rent a car, but apparently you can end your life using the same level of identity verification required to sign up for a Netflix account. And this is happening in Switzerland, by the way, the same country where you can get fined for flushing your toilet after 10 p.m. or mowing your lawn on Sundays because it might disturb the neighbors. But wire them $15,000 and fill out some paperwork and they will hand you a cup of poison with a smile and a have a nice death attitude. So, in case you don't know, Switzerland has turned assisted suicide into their weird, very weird national export when it could be cheese or chocolate. They are the only place that lets foreigners come die and they don't even require you to be terminally ill. You just have to convince them you're mentally competent enough to make the decision, which apparently involves less scrutiny than getting approved for a credit card. So it's basically death tourism. Suicide Disneyland. The happiest place on earth to stop being on earth. I'm pretty sure Canada must be jealous. But here's where it gets even more surreal. After Maureen died, they mailed her ashes to her family through the regular post, like she was a return package from Amazon. And one of her friends said, you get letters in the post, not people. And honestly, that might be the most rational response anyone's had to this entire nightmare. Can you imagine being the postal worker handling that delivery? This box is surprisingly heavy. Wonder what's it? Oh my God! It doesn't stop there, because this story apparently wasn't dystopian enough already. Weeks later, the family started receiving handwritten goodbye letters from Maureen, timed to arrive after her death. So imagine opening your mailbox and finding a letter from your dead mother sandwiched in between a pizza coupon and your electricity bill. So it's like getting hunted by someone who really wanted to make sure the hunting was properly scheduled. So it seems that this is the future. industrialized death with just enough personal touches to make it feel like a premium service. We call it Death 2.0, dying as a service. So the clinic, Pegasus, insists that they follow all proper procedures. They say Maureen passed psychological evaluations and was of sound mind. She provided medical documentation about chronic pain and was very clear about her wishes. So everything was above board, they claim. But here's the thing. Either their system is so trusting that it can be gained by a suicidal woman with a basic computer skills, or it's working exactly as designed, as a frictionless pipeline for people who want to die, regardless of whether they should die. So Maureen's brother, who happens to be a solicitor, is now demanding an investigation. He wants to know how a woman with a documented history of suicidal behavior and possible identity fraud was able to get irreversible medical assistance. And when reporters contacted Pegasus for comment, they gave the standard corporate non-response. We cannot confirm identities due to privacy laws. Everything we do complies with Swiss regulations. No laws were broken. And technically, they're probably right. No laws were broken. The system worked exactly as it was supposed to work, which is the most terrifying part of this entire story. Because assisted dying can be a genuine mercy. For people facing nothing but agony, for terminal patients who want to go out on their own terms, it can be the difference between a dignified exit and months of suffering. But when the vetting process has less friction than booking a hotel room, when you can essentially order death online like you're buying shoes, something has gone very wrong. So the Swiss have created a system so efficient at killing people that it can be exploited by the exact people it should be protecting, mentally ill individuals in crisis who need help. And the really F up part is this story isn't going to change anything. There will be no grand investigation, no reform of Swiss suicide laws, no international outcry, because at the end of the day, Maureen got what she wanted. The clinic got paid, and Switzerland, well, collected their taxes. But it somehow gets worse, because Maureen's story is not a one-off glitch in the system. It's the system working exactly as intended. Because a 51-year-old woman named Anne from Wales, who also took a little trip to Switzerland in January, she told her family she was going on holiday. Plot twist, it was the kind of holiday you don't come back from. Anne's story follows the exact same script as Maureen's, with a few variations. Her son had died and she was drowning in depression. Not terminally ill, just terminally sad. So she booked herself a one-way ticket to, you guess it, the Pegasus clinic. And Pegasus had supposedly promised after Alistair Hamilton's death in 2023, which was another secret suicide, another blindsided family, that they would always contact families before carrying out assisted deaths. Always cross their hearts and hope you die. Well, guess what happened to Anne's family? If you guessed, they found out she was dead through goodbye letters that arrived in the mail days later. Congratulations, you're getting the hang of how this death machine operates. So Anne's brother, John, swears Pegasus never called or texted or anything him, despite the clinic claiming they tried. Maybe they called the wrong number. Maybe they sent the text to another fake email address. Maybe they just pretended to make contact and figured that no one would take their word. So the family only learned about Anne's intentions when her carefully timed suicide notes started arriving like the world's most depressing subscription service. And in her letter to her sister Delia, Anne wrote, "So, if you are reading this, I am no longer here. I have thought about this long and hard and need to find my son and ask him some questions." Delia spent days trying to get confirmation from Swiss clinics that her sister was actually dead. Multiple emails, radio silence, and finally Pegasus responded with all the warmth you can get from, ChatGPT. Anne has chosen to die. She died gently and not alone. I hope her letters help you to accept this. All official papers and her urn will be sent to her brother John. Oh, and here's the tracking number so you can track your sister in real time in our app. But this is nothing new. Pegasus and other suicide clinics have been doing this since the 80s. And by the way, the final countdown came out in 1986. Maybe it's just a coincidence. But that is almost half a century of people flying to Switzerland, dying in secret, and leaving their families to piece together what the hell did just happen through a combination of WhatsApp messages and posthumous mail delivery. We have some names. We have 3 names in this video, but how many others went through the same process without anyone finding out? How many families are still waiting for phone calls that will never come, wondering why mom went to visit a friend and never came home? And this is the world we have built, because this is an international operation, a place where death has been gamified, streamlined, and optimized for efficiency, where the last human contact your family might have with the process is a WhatsApp message that arrives right after a Tom Cruise sticker. So make sure you check on your loved ones. And I would like to know what you think about this in the comments. Don't forget to download my 100 body language tips right in the description of this video. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy. Much love and bliss.